a documentary film about an interesting subject. And it seemed like bodybuilding at that time was that topic. It was a sport that was very undiscovered to the mainstream audiences. And of course, Pumping Iron is a film that a lot of people know. And we decided to make a film for the new generation. That's really how the idea started in its inception. I think it's a few different things. I think the fact that sort of like the mainstream looks down on it because people think it's all about steroids. You know, if you see a huge guy just putting all the tanning oil and just like doing something like very unorthodox on stage, it's right away you look at it like, what is this, a joke, you know? So I think most people just don't understand it. And at the same time, I think for many years, bodybuilders kind of like didn't have the personality like Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day, you know what I mean? So I think because of that, people just didn't associate with it. And in a way, like when you see a bodybuilding competition, you don't know anything about these guys, right? So you just see guys on stage and do a pose off. But in the film, you get the chance to see how they are with their families. And I think now people discover these characters like Phil Heath and Kai Green, and they really care about them. And that's what makes the viewing so much more intense and interesting. Psychological is very important. Like in any sport, psychological, you know, it's a big part of any sport, and in this case as well. Like imagine you being judged basically for the way you look. So imagine that you feel insecure that day, right? Or somebody makes you feel insecure, or somebody looks a certain way at you, right? Like it will affect you. And if you let it affect you, then you're right away going to be off on stage. So mental component is huge in bodybuilding. And a lot of times they use it for their advantage. Backstage, really, when you go to the competition, you see a lot of that happening. You see a lot of stares, they look at each other, you know, because before they go on stage, there's like a pump-up room, they pump up, they lift weights, they tan, you know what I mean? So like, you see a lot of that stuff, and that's when it really comes to life. You see, you know, there's a competition happening backstage right before it goes on the main stage. What kind of deep thinkers they are, you know. One guy in the film, he like paints in his small apartment, he does poetry, you know, and it's just, when you think about bodybuilding, you think of a huge guy working out in the gym. You know what I'm saying? So like, when you actually get to know them, you realize that bodybuilding is more about art, an artistic expression that you achieve through lifting weights and training and dieting, you know what I mean? But so it's more of an art form in a way than just sport. And that's what I learned mostly about bodybuilding.